Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Elite Racing League Network. I am Derik Vance, and we are coming to you live from the Magic Mile here in Loudon, New Hampshire. It is the Warriors for Peace Indycar Series, New Hampshire 200. I am Derik Vance, and I am joined this evening by a host of characters. As you see up on screen, Dean will be joining us here, and then Gary behind the booth making us sound so crystal clear. But it is a great evening for racing. As you see, 76 degrees, partly cloudy, just a little bit of wind at 2 miles an hour. Dean, we are at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile, as they call it. Any experience here? Anything you want to bring to the table here when we're talking about the New Hampshire Motor Speedway?
Welcome everybody, of course, to your racing series, of course, Race 5. Well, long straights and tight turns. There's the magic mile. That's it, long straights. Considering for an oval track, it is one of the toughest ones. Lots of fun, very, not the absolute easiest to get your overtakes done. 3 wide, perhaps, in some places. That's going to be risking it. It's a magic mile, but anything can happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to get this race started. We are in race number 5 of the 2024 season, Dean. If you can believe it or not, we've had rookies get their first wins in the 2024 season, and we've also had those wily veterans pick up wins as well. So a mixed bag that we've had so far after 4 races. Are you excited to get this one underway? Because it could be, as you said, a lot of straightaways. And who do you think that would lean to, or give the advantage to a little bit this evening as the host of drivers that are going to be putting on a show for everyone?
You're going to put me on the spotlight with that one, isn't it? As we've got quite a field of those drivers. Hello. That's probably one for the chat out there. So if you are listening, of course, at the chat on the Elite Racing Network, give us a shout out there, and we'll relay that. We'd love to. I'll always be keeping my eyes peeled on that one, and like to correspond with everybody. It's an interactive world. This is not television back in the day, of course. This is now, motorsports in the esports world. So there you go. Wait, see, I can spin my
And welcome back here to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Miracle Mile. Dean, I hope you brought your umbrella today as we had a quick but brief rain shower come through. I don't want you to melt and wash away. I'm going to check in with you. Dean, are you okay? Are you melted and washed away down the road?
Yeah, well, it was bucketing down here really quickly. The sun's come out, peeked from those clouds there. Our racing through on a spanner at the mix, aren't they? Yeah, so obviously we had to duck for cover. The rainstorm's passed, and we're back in beautiful sunny conditions.
Yeah, good to see that you survived that short but brief rain event that just came over the track. But before we get into to tonight's festivities and the race itself, Dean, let's take a look at the point standings as going into. Okay. Well, we'll get into those later on in the broadcast. But Dean, I know you were talking about a lot of turns, a lot of straightaways here. Majority of the races that are raced here are NASCAR events, obviously. But I know you probably have some experience here. Any stories you have in your racing career here at New Hampshire?
I'm just to let you know, I've never raced at all. I've never done a single lap in anything at all in iRacing.
I have to say, I'm quite surprised. I would have never guessed that for the vast knowledge that you bring race in and race out. It would seem to me, and again, a caveat: we have never met or crossed paths ever. That you would have, listening to you and playing, what the drivers are looking for, what they're seeing on each lap, so on and so forth. I am shocked that you have never turned a lap in an iRacing event.
No, I know, and the many thousands of dollars I've spent by purchasing every car at every track possible that there is, and never done a single lap. But that's what's required in order to broadcast or to commentate. No, my friend, keyboard and mouse wouldn't be a very good idea to drive these machines around this track, especially at the speeds that they're doing. I leave that to the professionals, my friend. I sit up in the lovely air-conditioned commentary box and just watch them do all the hard work.
I think sometimes that might be the best way to do things. But yes, we are into race number 5. Like we talked about, we've had rookies pick up their first victory, and those wily veterans have, especially on the road course, have been able to score victories here as well. So it is going to be interesting to see if we're going to get another first-time winner this evening here in New Hampshire, or if we're going to see a repeat winner. I think for the first time, if memory serves me correctly, in the 2024 season. Nice crowd. It looks like we have on hand here as we are looking down inside the New Hampshire Motor Speedway from the blimp. Always love it. Love to have those blimp shots. Even if it's just iRacing or if it's watching an Indycar race or a NASCAR race on TV. I love seeing the view from the blimp because, like I said, you can see the whole track and where the drivers like to keep their vehicles, keep their machines. But I do see that our points are up on screen, and it looks like we're going to start from the back there. A handful of drivers, as you can see here, that have may only completed one race or so. It's low points back here. But hopefully these drivers will be able to get themselves back into more of the races throughout the season and can accumulate more points as we see scrolling through there. Now we're starting to get, Dean, some of the names that we're expecting to see up there on the top of the pylons. You see right now rookie Jason Brophy in the number 88 machine for private label Team Hype is your current points leader by just 3 points, 125. Next is Ethan Stanley right there for Lake Norman Motorsports, 122 points. And then Adriano Pinero, the king, it seems like, of the road courses, in third place with 112 points. Dean, just looking at the top 10, top 15, is there somebody that sticks out to you that may make a jump here after New Hampshire this evening?
I don't necessarily believe so at this point because anybody can win this race from any position. this is going to be, it could be another first-time winner, as you'd mentioned. So hopefully we shall see that, because it'll definitely spice the things up in the championship, as you just saw those current points tally. So we'll see how it pans out. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to get this underway. We do see the cars are lined up 2 by 2 for the start of the race. So if we want to go and run down the racing grid real quick, as we start seeing some a car starting to get going here. There we go. The pace car is now out in front, and now so we are lined up 2 by 2. If we have the starting grid, as we have there, it's tough to see with those point standings.
Yeah, I can't get them off.
A little bit behind. Yeah, I see that. So it looks like taking the pole is Chad Frankenfield in his number 15 machine. Second, again, king of the road courses, Adriano Pinero. Starting third this evening, Tyler Fode. Rookie Joshua Tucker is fourth. Chad Simpson fifth. Mark Murphy sixth. Ryan Scholl seventh. Current points leader rookie Jason Brophy is in eighth. Butch Davis is in ninth. And then moving up, where do we go? Butch Davis is in ninth, and Nicholas Sudik rounds out the top 10. You want to take it away?
Yes. Oops.
Yeah, we're not going to have enough time. We're going green. Sorry.
All right, so we are green for the New Hampshire 200, as Chad Frankenfield is going to lead the field down into turn number 1 down in the backstretch, as he has the lead. They are 2 by 2 behind him, as he does pull a little bit away from the rest of the pack. Adrian Pinero running that high line, but Chad Frankenfield is going to bring him to the line to complete lap number 1. So Frankenfield, the pole sitter, is out front. Pinero is second, trying to chase him down. Frankenfield trying to keep that car on the bottom side of the track. That is the quickest way around a racetrack, is the bottom part of the track. Good groove there, and that is where Chad Frankenfield is going to find himself, as we see Adriano Pinero in second place, running that high line. And we already see a car hit off the wall as we complete lap number 2. Now it's going to collect a couple cars. Wow, we got a car barrel rolling into the front stretch across the start-finish line. We hope he's okay, as he's continuing to barrel roll, finally coming to a complete stop at the start-finish line. And what a way to get lap number 3 started, where we had a multitude of cars into this crash here. What do we got?
It looks to me like it was Joshua Tucker that went straight up into that fence first, and then that's caused a bit of a pile-up as he's going to jump his way in the pit road. Imagine a few other people who's got one of those tires. I think he's actually going to park it. And that's the first caution on the speedway that we have, and that would involve probably 3 or 4 cars if you get a chance to get a replay on that one. I do apologise that we do have the graphics just a little bit stuck up on the screen at the moment. That just happens.
It's being troubleshot right now, and we're trying to troubleshoot the cause of the wreck.
Yeah, we'll get that resolved. It's basically I bring my dingo up into the commentary box, and he likes to chew on those internet cables. So,
a little contact there. Had a little help.
You see it. Yeah, you see that. He did have a little help, so, not a lot of patience shown here early, as you see the car up into the wall, and then you have a multitude of cars running into each other. Then you have the car, you see right there, barrel rolling and coming to a complete stop there on the start-finish line. So, this is going to take out, at least 2 or 3, if not more cars. Chad Frankenfield, back to the leader for a minute here. He is the single leader of the race so far. Adriano Pinero right behind him in second. But you got to feel for those other cars that were in that wreck there. Just they got caught up. It was no fault of their own. Somebody just ran a little patience, ran a little thin there, and then it all broke loose from there.
It'll go pole shape, but not a bad place if you're going to have an accident and get a start early on the speedway, because you still got 190 something and change laps to go, and that's perfectly fine. They get that fast repair. Just to confirm, everybody, they will have that fast repair or not they could use.
There we go. As we get the leaderboard there in real time to the left there, as you see, we are completing lap number 5. Chad Frankenfield, Adriano Pinero, Tyler Fode, Chad Simpson, Ryan Scholl round out your top 5. Murphy 6, rookie Jordan Brophy 7, Butch Davis 8th, Hibbs 9th, and Forsythe round out your top 10. So a lot of cars obviously taken out here in this first caution of the race. As you see, there's at least 3 cars, all rookie, or 4 cars, excuse me, and I do believe, if my vision serves me correctly, all 3 of the 4, excuse me, I stand corrected. 3 of the 4 that cars involved are rookies. So one making their maybe New Hampshire debut here in IndyCar, and their day may be coming to an abrupt end quicker than what they anticipated.
Very much so. We have 28 drivers currently still in this race. 4 of those are in pit road at the moment getting those repairs. That's Tony Shoden there, Joshua Tucker there, Kevin Hayes, and Corey Johnson, as you'd mentioned. But still, Chad leading after the restart that he had there. You saw the man in P2, the number 56 machine, going up on the high line. That's the orange car that you can just see lurking in the background. So let's have a look if Chad's going to have to be the one that's masterminding a lot of those restarts here this evening.
Yes, he is. As you can see, he's trying to block Adriano Pinero from passing him as we're going back into turn 3, back to the front stretch to lap number 7. Pinero right there on his back bumper, but on Pinero's back bumper is Tyler Fode. We are single file through the back all the way to position 7 or 8. Tyler Frankenfield now gets a little bit of a lead as he stretches it out over Adriano Pinero, but we hit that back stretch and Pinero's able to reel him in. As we see back deeper in the field, we have a pass here for 5th place. This is Murphy in the 68 machine trying to take 5th place away, but Ryan Scholl's going to have nothing of it as he puts his number 4 machine back into 6th place. Still Frankenfield, the head of the field by 1.13 seconds over Adriano Pinero on lap number 9. As we see other cars going to take the high line there, going to try to take that spot away from Ryan Scholl, and Butch Davis does do that. As we see right here, Jason Murphy in the number 88 private label Team Hype Machine, who is not only a rookie, ladies and gentlemen, but he is your current points leader, as we showed a little bit ago through 4 races. As we see racing towards the back of the pack there, going a little 3 wide action here at New Hampshire, coming to the line to complete lap 10. But still, the front three rather stay the same. Frankenfield, Pinero, Fode, Simpson, and Murphy round out your top 5. Deeper in, go ahead.
No, you're right. There's a bit of a battle growing up in the midfield at 10, 11, and 12. As they're making their way out of the final turn to start another lap. Lap 12, of course, of 200.
Yep, a lot of racing left here. As we see Frankenfield at the front here, looking at the scoring pylon, is extending his lead a little bit over Adriano Pinero to almost a second now. As like I said, our cameras are focused here towards the middle pack of the cars here, as we see a lot of single file racing, but very nose to tail, as they like to say there in the racing world. As we still take a look at cars battling for position early in this race, just lap 13. We have
3 wide.
3 wide there. There you go. Coming to the line to complete lap 13 out of 14. Frankenfield was on the pole. He has been the leader for every lap so far, and I see, looking over at the timing and scoring, that Chad is extending his lead there ever so slightly, as we see a battle for 5th between 5 different cars. Jason Brophy, your points leader, has the 5th position, but Murphy is all over his backside. they're trying to take the position away. Brophy trying to defend his position, but still early in this race, lap 15 of 200 as we tick off one lap at a time. Frankenfield still your race leader. Very interesting that a lot of racing going on, but the cars are you'll see three wide every so often, but everybody is staying right in line with each other, and this is helping Chad Frankenfield as we see him as he has extended his lead now to 1.5 seconds over Adriano Pinero. So Chad Frankenfield's got to be loving the racing that is going on behind him, because that is allowing him to extend his lead further and further each lap.
You're absolutely right. Mark Murphy currently in P6 has been holding off Butch, who's just having a little bit of a taste up on the inside. Bush Davis there still once again, but Mark's holding the high line off. Butch goes up into the inside apron there almost, and then has to slide back out to the wall. That will get a little bit more frustrating on his tyres. So we'll see how that's going to pan out. He's getting 2 positions to 43 machine. Mark still in that P6 where he started. Jason, just like Murphy, is getting 3 and P5.
Yeah, good racing there. I always love seeing, I have to say, one of my favorite liveries on these cars is the number 43 machine. It's made famous, obviously, by the King, Richard Petty, but you see that 43 entry there on Butch Davis. So gotta love seeing the old STP logo and paint scheme that King Richard Petty made so famous for so many years back out on the track. That is one of my all-time favorites liveries, no matter if it's on Indcar or NASCAR.
Yeah, John Andretti drove a livery like very similar to that for one of the his last Indy 500 he drove. The King kind of came in and kind of helped sponsor the team a little bit, but he had a mainly it was a Windows sponsorship, but it was definitely the STP blue and orange that he sported on his car for an Indy 500 or two there toward the end of his run and career there in IndyCar. So it actually has appeared. Now, this is a custom for Butch. I've known Butch for almost 25 years, back when we were doing IndyCar Racing 1 and 2 from Papyrus, and he's been around the community just forever.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
You've been around the block then a few times, haven't you?
Well, I certainly know my way around New Hampshire here a little bit. I will say, check a look at these guys. Let's go back up to the leader here and check out Chad. Chad is pretty much taking the high line all the way around this place. And unlike you see some other cars or other 1 mile in ovals, you go right to the bottom. That's the quickest straight around. These cars don't like that. They want to be about a lane off the bottom, if not a little bit more further than higher. The banking, when they built the track, was pretty much flat. They've added the progressive banking since, and as you can see that in the construction of the track and the way it's scanned, allowing those higher lines to come in. But I remember doing a DW12 race here in the Lionheart Series, and we were all up in the third lane pretty much the entire race. And that's an interesting line to be taking an IndyCar around here. But this track hosted its first IndyCar race back in '92. The track record, it's held by Andre Ribeiro in terms of famous things that have happened here in IndyCar history. This is where Honda got its first IndyCar win, right here. Andre Ribeiro in a Renard Honda-powered with Firestone tires got the very first win. God knows how many wins they have now, but the very first Honda win was right here by Andre Ribeiro at New Hampshire, and he currently holds the pole record. And I think, are we yellow? No, we're currently holds a track record of 177 miles per hour, and I don't think that'll ever fall. Even if Indy cars do come back here with the R18, I don't think they'll be ever faster than those 95 cars that were here.
Gary, I find it interesting that the point that you made about this may be the only track that you'll see an IndyCar run this high line that Chad has been laying down early, because you're absolutely right that on a speedway like Indianapolis, for example, we'll use that one. You see those cars, they want to stick to that bottom lane as best they can. So it's funny to see, and I'm being serious. It's funny to see these Indy cars, these Galaras, run that high line, because normally on a super speedway, Texas is another one that comes to mind. You don't see that at all.
No, the way this oval is built, and it's actually built a little bit longer than 1 mile. It's 1.058 miles. So we're going to cover 211.6 miles today in this race. We're going to see how that plays for the fuel strategy later. But when we look at the way that this mile is built, if you were to put it over Milwaukee, it's like, well, that's another 1 mile oval. You'll actually see that this track will fit a little bit inside of the turns at Milwaukee, because in terms of all the 1 mile ovals that these Indy cars race at, this is the tightest radius of turns on a 1 mile oval that they race at, have raced at.
Yeah, in racing at the moment, there is a four-way battle. Sorry to cut you off in there, guys. Currently still brewing around that 10th place at the moment with Victor Porto in the there of Ethan. So that's interesting. They're going a little bit up into the high line and down into the inside apron. Just getting back to that point, as in, I don't think these cars topping that one.
Well, there you see right there with we're watching Nick Sudik, one of my broadcast partners, and one of the other broadcast when I race or broadcast at another carrier, but. Right here you see 4 different lines going through the corner. So go where the clean air is. That's where you want to point your car in these Indy cars, because if you don't get that wind on the front wings, these cars are not going to turn, or they're going to turn very badly. They definitely need the aid of that wind on the front wings. But there you see right there very clearly 3 different lines right there through that turn. And if you get a pack of 4, you're going to see 4 different lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad Frankenfield still our race leader after completing lap 31. His lead is shrunk, not a lot, but Pinero staying right there in his tracks.
Well, he's experienced the lap traffic, and that's what allowed him to kind of allow Pinero to kind of reel him back in. Pinero, we all know he's fast. I like to call him 4 wide Pinero, because I saw him take it 4 wide in a Talladega race one time in these cars, and he ended up, I think, wadding up the field, but I still said that nickname needs to stick with him. But he almost got the wall there on corner exit, but he's reeling in Chad, because Chad is looking at lap traffic. And if you go back and watch the old IndyCar races here, even going back to the very first 92 race, one of the main complaints that these drivers had were the back markers.
Yeah, traffic. That's definitely going to play. As the leader is catching exactly that traffic. So that's going to be a way to navigate around that traffic, as it looks like as well to the driver in 26. Looks like Corey Loudon is going very, very, very slow on Speedway as well, so it might cause some damage. Let's see if he heads back in the pit road, because Lee's going to be approaching him, because he's coming to turn 4 now soon.
Now he missed
Gary,
pit in.
Gary, you made an interesting point. You were talking about how the Indy cars here, really in any Speedway, love that clean air, and I think that's another reason as to why Pinero is able to shave some time off. Obviously, Frankenfield running into traffic, but then his car is getting that dirty air that is slowing him down considerably as well.
Yeah, the traffic giveth and traffic taketh away as well, because now Adriano had to actually get in there and combat those same cars. Now, those drivers at the end of the lead lap, they're going to fight as hard as possible to stay on the lead lap. Once the leader passes them, sometimes they might try to keep up the heat, but other times they're like, okay, realize I'm already a lap down, I got to change my strategy and kind of let the cars behind them kind of go. Not when I say go, but I'm not going to fight as hard because I don't have the leader right in front of me. I can't get back on the lead lap, and so that's kind of what we might see here with Adriano as Chad gets around some of these cars. They'll fight. Oh, car to the wall right behind. Not sure who that was. That was one of the lap cars. Bill Colley. Yeah, Bill Colley. I think might have kissed the wall on corner 2 exit there. But as leaders get by these guys, these back markers might decide not to fight as hard with second or third place, knowing that they've lost their lap and it's now the kind of time to re-strategize.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see as Chad Frankenfield is eating his way through the field, picking off one car at a time. Gary, what do you think the pit window what will be here? I know we're at lap 40. What are you looking for pits to open up.
Let's see, we're all 39 laps under this current stint. I'm sure these tires are pretty well spent already, so if there's any yellow between now and whenever they want to pit, they're going to pit that very second. But I think we're looking at 50, 60, somewhere in there before we get to our first pit stop, realistically speaking. But if they can get in earlier, they sure as heck are going to do that.
So ideally, you're probably looking at what, a 3-stop race here, if I got the math correct.
2-stop, 3-stop, yeah.
All right, so definitely going to see if that's the strategy. Maybe Adriano Pinero goes to. You see, he is shrinking that.
And here he is. He's right there.
Yep, there he is. Less than a second as we see him in the picture frame. Just a few laps ago, we didn't get him in the video shot, but now he is slowly reeling in. Frankie feels we are on board.
Yeah, let's watch this. Watch Adriano at work. He's one of the masters of the fixed series for official iRacing race leagues. Down the 4th gear, 3rd gear, getting down to that 2nd lane, helping him rotate a little bit. Corner exit, stayed off that wall. That wall comes up on you really quick. 4th gear, 5th gear. He is now in the draft. He's in the draft envelope with Chad in front of him. It's about 1.5 seconds is that envelope in front of him. There he is, down to 3rd gear again. Always working the tools. We don't see him working the tools with his hands because we're in the video games, but if we had a camera on him, on his rig, we'd probably see him working the tools every single lap, every single corner, as well as slapping those gears down the 3rd gear, up the 4th gear, down the 5th gear. There is no rest for these IndyCar drivers. When you see a stock car here, they're kind of just turning laps and kind of managing their car with the throttle and the brake. IndyCar drivers, it's like a jet fighter, it's like a jet plane. You're doing something, you're monitoring something, you're managing something almost every single lap.
It's exactly the same sort of as Formula 1 as well, too, in that context, because you have to be really adjusted. At the moment, he's got to be thinking about where to go here, as he's got that traffic up the road.
He's going to shoot for the middle there.
Yes, he could, and that's also trusting in the driver, so it's going to...
Oh, there it is, another contact, inside wall. Caution.
Oh, wow. Caution is out, and that's got to be devastating for Adriano Pinero. He made up all that time. He tried to clear a path.
That was with Joseph Morales, yes.
And do you think that Morales, I don't know if he didn't see him
or
he just didn't give him enough room?
I think there was still room on the wall. I think, let's see if we can...
I think he slid into him. I think because the other driver was outside on the wall. He was pretty close to the wall. He really had nowhere to go. And I think that Joseph just really probably miscalculated that.
Let's watch it here.
Too much exit speed. You could say that, look at that. See Jason sliding up into him? Bang. I'd have to say, I think because Jason got on that loud paddle out of that corner, because he's obviously definitely trying to chase down Chad, and then a little bit too greedy. There was no movement from the contact of the car they came colliding with, so I think it's just a racing incident.
Yeah, I'll let Chat make a call on that one. Just a bad spot. But everyone's going to pit now, and as I said, if there was going to be a pit, and here they come, boys.
Yeah, this is definitely going to change things, I think, dramatically. Adriano Pinero started P2, was patient for 47 laps, and when you get overzealous sometimes, you'll end up causing an accident, and that's exactly what happened there. As we see everybody coming in to pit, I'd imagine we're going to get four fresh Firestones and a full tank of Sunoco racing fuel as everybody gets out of their pits. Looks like Frankenfield is going to be the one that wins off the pit road there. Tyler Fody is going to check in second, Simpson third, points leader Brophy fourth, and Murphy round out your top five. So we are in caution number 2 here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the New Hampshire 200. I think this will be a good time if we can get it in. Let's run down the sponsors that make it possible for us here on the Elite Racing League Network to not only bring you action here from New Hampshire, but from other tracks across this great country of ours.
The Holiday on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back here to the New Hampshire 200 from the Magic Mile here in Loudon, New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, as we are under caution number 2 for a 2-car incident that involves, fellas, one of the championship point contenders, Adriano Pinero, who was running second throughout the majority of this race. Maybe got a little bit overzealous, a little impatient, and brought out the second caution as we are now back to green. Chad Frankenfield is going to lead the field Chad Frankenfield is going to lead the field next time back to the green flag. Get things back underway. He has been your race leader from the start of this race. Tyler Fody, who is rewarded now with the patience due to the incident with Adriano Pinero, is now second. Simpson is third. Rookie and points leader Jason Brophy is fourth. And Murphy rounds out your top 5. So we're going to go single file on this. Go ahead.
So what they're doing on this restart is they're trying to mimic a real IndyCar restart. There you see the dragon or the snake going down the front straight as Chad's trying to break the draft of Tyler. So this is a NASCAR world and we live in it. So this is primarily a NASCAR sim. So in order to simulate an IndyCar start, really what happens in real IndyCar racing is that the pace car will come off either at the turn 1 before going green, or will accelerate and will leave the field alone on the backstretch, and then it's up to the leader to bring the field to green, and then it's up to the flag person or the race control can make the track go green anytime between when the driver is on the backstretch and before he gets to the start-finish line, giving these cars plenty of time to warm up, get up to speed. And the reason why you want them up to speed really quickly is that's downforce, and you don't want these cars light on downforce to be skating through these corners. So the rule that they have here in the Elite Racing League is a very good one because it simulates what IndyCar racing does in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. If you think back, a couple of years ago at the 500, and it may have been just this past finish where they went red with about 2 laps to go, and the drivers post-race were complaining about going that fast on cold tires, and I think you're absolutely right. So doing that snake or that dragon move there, as you talked about, there, just to get heat in those tires, especially when they're going the speeds that they're going at in those corners, because if they don't, like you said, they're gonna slip and slide all over the place.
Ethan Stanley sticking it to Nick Sudik here in the mid-pack.
You're right, and you remember, of course, that IndyCar incident, of course, with thankfully the tires kicked off over the catch station. That was a very, very scary moment, and wow, considering how Jeff had
yeah, but that woman got a new car out of the deal.
Oh, shit, good, but I mean, if that was a second later hit the grandstand. Yeah,
if that made the grandstands there, and that just happened to be a break in the grandstand between the Riley Children's Hospital Indianapolis Motor Speedway suites and the stands there. But I've actually, my very first 500, I sat in the stands there, so I was very close to where my very first 500 was, where that wheel got ejected.
You know, and to IndyCar's credit, as we watch the racing, Chad Frankenfield again out to a 2-second lead over Tyler Fode. But IndyCar, in my opinion, they dodged a bullet there. You know, what are the odds that you have a tire that's going to come off the tether like it did? And I know it was either Roger Penske or Mark Miles was talking about that, but IndyCar really dodged. Really dodged a bullet there with that tire as it goes over the catch fence, which the catch fence's job obviously is to catch things like that. You know, a freak thing, it didn't happen. But in IndyCar and IMS were so lucky that didn't strike a fan, and that could have been a fatal blow.
Yeah, that's
that would have injured a lot of people for sure. That would have been almost as I think way back in the day in Formula One. This is where I think in the 70s where a car actually busted over the fence and straight into the back. That's I can't remember which GP that was. I think they banned the motor racing in that country a long time after that. As we're seeing a great battlers in your pitches at the moment. That's for Mark Reed and Butch Davis. It's no crazy for the Raceway number 7 machine.
Yeah, that's not the first time that Indianapolis has had a tire get ejected over the catch fence. And that's the last time I remember it happening, most notably. Well, actually, it did happen again. Connor Daly booted Ray Hall's tire in the 2021 500 when everyone came back. But that went into the infield, didn't hit anybody. Roberto Guerrero and that ill-fated 87 500 of his where he was leading late and then he stalled his car. Part of the damage to his car and why his car was having problems because he hit a tire from a car earlier in the race, ejected it into the north short chute stands there, actually killed one of the spectators, and then of course that damage came back to later hinder him on the pit stop and allowed Al Senior to get his 4th win in 87. So that has happened before. And of course, we do know about the incidents that happened with the IRL at Charlotte where someone got injured and killed in the stands. And of course, it also happened in the kart series like a year before that. Adrian Fernandez lost a tire and went to the stands at Michigan and killed a fan there. And that's kind of when all IndyCar got together, even on the kart side of things, and said, we're going to put tethers on these wheels. And frankly, the tethers for the most part have worked, but that was a catastrophic failure that happened to the McLaren car there in the Indy 500. 4 wide behind this battle right here. Great, good-looking shot there. But hopefully we don't see that more, and hopefully they improve on that. But safety continuously improves on these cars year after year after year.
Tethers as well, as you mentioned, because even in Formula 1, they've had tethers for a while. This is the same situation as well. Too. That's how they come off stewards and stuff like that, so they was very focused on doing that. Tethers are very strong. Generally, they barely ever break. Of late, as you've seen in Formula 1, the actual tire itself has come off the rim. So the rim's still attached to the car with the tether, but the tire's come off. But I tell you what, just the tire itself, that speed can do damage, but without the rim, that might be a little bit less of a dangerous thing. It's still always working on safety in motorsports. But hey, it is going to be dangerous if you're sitting in a grandstand in any motorsport. Really, any motorsport that it is. So that's the risk you take for the live entertainment. But generally, I mean, you've done pretty much 99.9%.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think it was Kyle Kirkwood car on was the tire that went in the stands. But I will say, I had Pato O'Ward pegged to win that race, and if it wasn't for him being overly aggressive with about 7 laps to go, I had that pick, and I'm going to stand by that.
I think he had to be. I think he had to be aggressive at that point, and there was a lot. There was a lot of blocking on. I mean, there was a lot of shade being thrown there in the late in the late portions of that race, and everyone wants to win it. And Pato said that next time he's not going to be giving up next time. So that'll be interesting to see what happens when that happens again.
It was. I think he wrecked with 7 to go. It was 6 or 7 to go.
Oh, Brophy going to go to the middle. Wow, we got 3 wide of the backstretch with this lap traffic.
So the last time we had somebody go up the middle, it didn't end well. But Brophy gets through scot-free there. Chad Frankenfield still your race leader by 3.7 seconds over Tyler Fode. Hibbs checks in 3rd. Murphy checks in 4th. And your points leader, Jason Brophy, checks in fifth. But as you see on the screen there, it was on there, the Push to Pass podcast. I wanted to pimp that a little bit. That is my IndyCar racing podcast myself, along with Josh Roberts. We'll start to pick that up here in the next few weeks as IndyCar is ready to kick things off in St. Petersburg. So if you are an IndyCar fan looking for IndyCar content, as we see a car get sideways and he ends up saving
Ethan Stanley doing the Tokyo Drift through 1 and 2. I'm sure his tires aren't very happy about that, but that was an awesome save.
Yeah, awesome save there by Ethan Stanley. He could have taken out a handful of cars, but that slide there kind of saved him. But yeah, if you're looking for a podcast that has a lot of IndyCar content, interviews with drivers, interviews with other IndyCar podcasters, I definitely tell you to check that out. We go live on Wednesday nights. Facebook, YouTube, and then the audio version will be up usually Thursday morning. So go check that out. But you were talking about the auto award, and it brings up something I want to touch on that I think IndyCar can do a better job of. You have NASCAR where you have, but NASCAR has, those villains. So people love to hate. Kyle Busch comes to mind, which I think he's an absolute awesome driver. By the way, I think that's the one thing IndyCar is missing. They don't. We have a caution out on the track, so we'll get to that point here momentarily.
Ryan Edwards.
Car spinning. Ryan Edwards spinning on the front stretch right before you get to the start-finish line. He's able to correct his car and get it back into the right correct position. Let's go back to the replay here as we are overhead of the Ryan Edwards machine. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, there's a car.
Yeah.
There's a car going sideways right there, and I think Edwards loses the back end there a little bit, fellas, as well. He's able to save it, doesn't hit the inside retaining wall, ends up turning his car around, getting it straight with no other damage to anyone else. And
trying to find who that other car might be. That was Victor DePorto. So we'll go back and find out what he just looks like. He got just the same thing that happened to him happened to Stanley. I think he just got a little loose coming in the corner. So there, you got to ride the accelerator a little bit. You can't just mash it, especially these tires get well worn, and that's what happens. The back end comes around. Also, maybe have a little too much weight jacker, but definitely the back end comes around. Nobody's worse for wear, even though tires might be. We'll go back to live television here,
Who's
but
the car that had? Who's the gold machine? I'm looking. I saw the rear wing on that gold machine.
That Bill.
Loosey-goosey.
I
don't know. I'm going to drive us in the pit right now.
Yeah, we do, and I do see that.
I think it was that's. I just saw it for a split second. That one. I think. Did he get damaged?
Yeah, that is.
Al Hobson. Huh?
AJ Hobson, and he is in the Miller American entry, kind of a repaint of what Danny Sullivan drove in the 1989 or 88 Indy 500. Sat on the front row with that. But Brophy is your leader. Chad came out, had a bad stop, and he is back to 6th. Those do a bit of a field reset for you guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, your points leader currently, Jason Brophy, in the number 88 machine is currently on pole. And then you have back in P2, the number 42 machine of Chad Simpson of Satellite Racing. And then we see the car we were just talking about a little bit ago there, the FBR Motorsports STP number 43 machine of Butch Davis is 3rd. And then 4th, the number 10 entry for independent racing. Somebody's got to sign this guy up. Jared Rexing in the number 4 position. And then rounding out the top 5 in the FBR Motorsports is Chad Simmer in the number 37 machine. So that is your top 5. Let's take a deeper look into the field. Gary just mentioned there in 6th position, our pole sitter, Chad Frankenfield, in the number 15 Little Eagle Racing Machine. And then 7th, Tyler Fody. So 2 guys that had bad stops there. In 7th place in the number 40 Lake Norman Motorsports. Go ahead, Gary.
I see what happened because we were watching the accidents and incidents. Brophy, Simpson, Davis, Rexian, and Simard did not pit. So they are out on tires that are 30 laps old. So the first car that pitted is Chad Frankenfeld. So he has fresh tires and a full tank. We only went about half the distance we did on the first stint. We only went 40. The first stint was 47 laps. This one was more in the neighborhood of 27, 28 laps. So we didn't quite go, we went a little bit more than halfway. But starting with Frankenfeld, he is the first car that pitted and came off a pit road. So he is the first car with all the freshest details on right now.
So I think the question that stems from that observation that you made there, and it's a great one, how long are the cars that stayed out? When are they going to be considered sitting ducks?
Well, right now with bad tires, I mean, their tires are about a half a stint old. So I would expect that Chad is going to want to make hay as quickly as possible on these opening laps while his tires are as fresh as possible. And we'll actually keep the camera on him because I think it's going to be pretty exciting watching him immediately want to attack because he'll want to get around these guys. Not as soon as possible, but definitely they don't want to hold him up any because he's got to still defend the guy behind him who's also on fresh tires. He also might have mental note that, hey, maybe I don't race the guys in front of me as hard as I could because they all have to stop. But I'll tell you one thing, the guy leading, Jason Brophy, he's always working it. Team Hype private label guys are always working the strategy. They know what's going on. This is one of the leading teams, super teams in the IndyCar iRacing community. They always know what's going on, and he's going to bring them down to a fast restart.
Chad, before the caution as well, too, had a huge gap. I mean, he was way up the road.
Oh, he did, yes.
He was lapping everybody about almost 2 tenths per lap quicker. So, yeah, Chad with those fresh boots and these other drivers who boxed on lap 47, they're going to come under huge pressure. So, I think this is Chad's race to win, for sure, and to lose.
Well, not only that, with Frankenfield having the fresher tires and all, and Fody having the fresher tires as well, how much is in the back of their mind thinking about just a few laps ago the lack of patience that Adriano Pinero had when he's seen an opening, he took it, he may have got a little bit overzealous, ends up taking himself out of the race. Does that come into play, or is it just too early in the race for that?
I think a lot of them are kind of happy. It's like, he's a contender. That's one less guy I have to worry about. I just got to keep my car between the lines here and keep my P's and Q's clean, and I'm going to work my way into a good finish. I kind of call it the Gary strat. When I'm out there racing with these guys, I like to keep all the action in front of me, stay in the lead lap, let the attrition help me, let people make mistakes. Makeup is the easiest pass you make on the racetrack is when the other car in front of you is in the pits.
There was no finer example of that than this past Monday, the Daytona 500. It seems like
Speedway looks like we've got Tyler.
Fody.
We do have another
Fody.
caution.
I think Fody was part of that. One of the early leaders.
See the exact thing I just talked about there. Tyler Fody looks like he has found himself into that outside retaining wall. We're going to play back the video. Here we go, the Mark Rebellis replay. And let's see Tyler Fody here.
Comes around on him.
No cars are around him. Back in goes out. And it takes him up into the marbles.
Oh, and it takes out Murph.
Chad Frankenfield.
Was that for Chad? Or was that Murph?
No, it's not Chad.
That was Murph.
Chad was Murph.
Paint schemes are almost identical there. Oh, that would have been
disastrous.
But you see,
if that was a real wreck, that would have been one that really would have, the one that you have to overcorrect and then you go nose in for. It's like Seb Bourdais' qualification wreck at Indianapolis in 2017. If you go back and watch that one, that's kind of what it reminded me of. The back end kind of comes around, you overcorrect, and then when your car catches, then it's, I've committed too much right turn, and that right turn catches and sends me directly nose first into the wall. Thankfully, this is a sim.
Well, you can get yourself, if you got a nice racing rig with a heavy force feedback.
Well, yeah, there you go. You can break. Yeah, you can break a finger. But there's Murph, and poor Murph. I mean, just wrong place, wrong time. Of course, he's driving with my sponsorship on there, so I'm always counting on Murph, and he's a pretty clean driver. But when it happens in front of you, sometimes you don't always have that second to avoid it. And unfortunately, he was an innocent bystander.
Yeah, he absolutely was. So I think that is a multi-car crash there. between Ryan Murphy and Tyler Fody.
I'm wondering if those top 4 drivers are going to fight, 5 drivers to be, as you can see currently at the moment, they can take advantage of this pit stop under caution. You have to.
This could come out at a great time for them, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they want these cautions. Well, cautions breed cautions. I mean, that's the old phrase we've heard. So they're hoping for more caution laps. I imagine if they get another caution after this, they'll probably won't gamble anymore, because as the field thins out, you get fewer cautions in terms of people making contact with each other. So I would imagine that they're trying to stay on strategy, but I imagine that if I was in their seat, I'd be like, okay, probably the next one I'm coming in, but only a couple laps after the previous one is suitable enough to wait. And what we didn't really see that I expected to happen is Chad made 0 progress on those top 5.
I think he had time. Really, I was trying to keep an eye on him because it was getting temperature into those tires and not being too greedy just yet. And he wasn't the only one, of course, other drivers. I think I wanted to see if we're going to get a couple more laps in it to really see that pace start to kick into gear. But at this point, yeah, once again, that caution came out a little bit too early to really see that tire difference.
I do like Chad's paint job, though. Very reminiscent to the Delphi paint job of Scott Sharp back in the IRL days. Of course, Scott Sharp, a former winner here back in '96. He won for A.J. Foyt. First A.J. Foyt win since '81 when Scott won here in '96 for him. Interesting story about that race. Tony Stewart had the field covered, much like Chad did for much of the first half of this race. Had a 3-lap lead, and that ever vaunted Menard Buick Grenade that he carried at the back of his car did what it always did. It imploded on him with a 3-lap lead at Loudon, and that allowed Scott there to cruise on and get a surprise win for him and AJ. But that was, I always say that New Hampshire giveth and New Hampshire taketh away as well, and that's a key example of you can have a big lead here at New Hampshire and just not guarantee that you're going to get that win.
Yeah, interesting story there. I'd love to see what would have happened if, Tony Stewart does hold on to win that race. Does he, continue with IRL, or does he, continue his way to NASCAR? So we're going to get back underway here. Jason Brody is going to bring us back to the green flag there across the start finish line with 89 of 200 laps to go. As we've talked about there earlier, there are a handful of cars that definitely need to come in.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see when the trigger is pulled to bring those cars in. But Jason Brophy, for the most part, is one of those cars that does need to pit, but in the handful of laps that he's been out in front, credit to him, he has been able to hold his own as we're coming back to the start-finish line as we are back underway. Jason Brophy is going to lead the pack of cars single file down into turn number 1. We're also keeping an eye on Chad Frankenfield, the pole sitter. He has the fresher tires on. We're curious to see how quickly he's
taking a look at the inside.
Absolutely right there. He's taking a hard look into the inside, looking to clear that car on the top side. I imagine he's going to do it in this turn.
Yeah, Jared's collecting the bad air there from Butch, unfortunately. Butch has a clean lane in front of him, but he's sending the dirty air on back to Chad there, so he's a victim of it, but that allows Chad to get on by.
Yep, Chad Frankenfield back in the top 5 after the unfortunate pit stop that he had just a few laps ago. Further in the pack racing, a lot of single file racing, but you know what though? The cars aren't as spread out as earlier. A lot of cars are nose to tail there as Chad Frankenfield trying to find his next victim to.
Oh, Hibbs got around Chris Samard as well, so Chris down 2 spots since the restart, and Craig Forsyth looking to get around him. Craig using that higher line, gonna get a faster exit.
All right, as Jason Brophy still out in front, he's going to be one of a handful of cars that are going to need to pit here shortly. They stayed out. They gambled. Let's see how that works out for Brophy. Keep in mind he is the points leader, so the more laps he's gonna lead in this race. He's going to extend his points lead. In the overall grand scheme of things, you see right there starting to pull away a little bit as we cross the start-finish line on lap 93. Chad Frankenfield again after a restart, still sitting in 5th place. Ryan Scholl making his way up the leaderboard. He is 9th. Forsythe, we just talked about there, he is 7th. Jared Rexing holding his own there in the number 4 position as we are about 6 laps away from halfway.
Yeah, these guys up front got a little bit of a benefit of also first of all, benefit of track position. As you can see, track position is everything, especially with the aero wash. And then also lighter tanks. The tires are worn, but they're definitely a little bit faster in terms of the lighter tanks, and not really seeing those new tires now making much of a difference as they're now about 20 laps into this tire stint. So these tires, the goodness of them are not as quite as effective as they were, 10, 15 laps ago.
Keeping an eye currently at the moment I've been keeping an eye on Chad, actually. Frankenfield, and he's cornering so much more confident on the grippier tyres, of course. These boots are made for walking, and he's about to walk all over Jared up on the inside, trust in the tyre, and there it is. So that's going to give you a little bit of an indication of how much more grippy he can really go up on the inside apron there, and then get the power down earlier, and that's where they're starting to come into play. That's what I'm seeing them catch these drivers up the road and yet to make a pit stop. Ticking fast, caution the speedway.
Yeah, caution on the speedway. Bill, something happened to, not sure who now.
I think it was AJ.
Okay.
AJ Hobson, I think it is.
As we see the 4th caution of the race is out, we are going through the videotape now as the replay now has been put together. And let's see what we have here as...
There. AJ Hobson there. Crash. There we go. I got it here. So again, in that Miller American on the high line, just comes on around.
All by himself. That's sometimes it's a bit, I don't know, about if you're at the back of the field as well too, and you're not going to cause a crash of anybody else. I think sometimes it shouldn't really be caused as a caution. That's just the way it happens. Because obviously they do it in real life because, hey, there could be carbon fiber and bits and pieces over the track there. It could be dangerous. In this case, there would be carbon fiber on the track. But of course, in a virtual world, I think sometimes it shouldn't be called a caution. That's just my thing that happens in Indy, but
I was wrong. Those leaders are staying out. I thought for sure that they would take this second opportunity to not roll the dice one more time, but try to hit pit road. But they're gambling with track position. They're not going to make it. There's no way they can make it, without stopping. They're going to have to stop. That is for sure. I mean, they're 51 laps on their current stint. Math says no. Now, unless they have a special fuel cell in there that we don't know about, fuelcell.exe or something, there's no way they're going to make us remaining 100 laps on what they have left in the tank. So I think they're saying that track position is king here, and it's tough to disagree with them.
I don't know. I mean, you saw just of late. I mean, Jade saw that one. Jade Rexing. He saw how much pace that Chad had coming out of that corner, and those tires starting to kick in with the difference, of course, between them. And I'm pretty sure at the moment, if you do have a spotter out there, if Jason Linden's from Chad Simpson and Butch, if they have spotters out there, they should be aware that, hey, really in a few laps from this race restart, and I would be surprised if Frankfield isn't not up into P2 in about 3 laps from now. On green, that is.
Yeah, curious, what those front cars are thinking as we are now halfway in this New Hampshire 200 from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Rookie and points leader Jason Brophy is your race leader currently, again with 100 laps to go. But as the guys were just talking about there, He has got a mile on those tires, so it's going to be interesting to see as to what point that he decides to bring his machine in for service and when he's going to relinquish that lead. Chad Frankenfield led the first, I would say, 98, 97 laps of this race, and a bad pit stop has put him back into fourth position, but he is slowly climbing his way back up towards the front there. We have noticed that his car, that high line that normally you don't see Indy cars run, and Gary talked about that earlier in the race, has been Chad's line all night long. I imagine at some point he's going to get back into that line, but I think it's it's abundantly clear that Chad's car loves to run, obviously, as any Indy car would, in clean air. So until he gets back to that clean air, he's got those three cars in front of him. It's going to be interesting to see how his car handles as the pace car drifts off. There is Jason Brophy for the second time.
Yeah.
Is going to bring the field back down the start-finish line. He's going to bring them back to the green flag on lap 103.
Something interesting I want to point out for Simpson, because Satellite Racing, they're one of the power teams as well. We're under caution. Look at the line that Chad's running. He's so much lower than Brophy. He's a whole lane lower. That's running the track in a smaller distance than Brophy is, saving precious drops of fuel.
Yeah, something else that we haven't talked about is fuel saving. You don't know how many of these drivers are doing that until you have somebody like Gary that points that out. As we're going to bring the cars are going to be brought back to the start finish line. It's going to be Jason Brophy who is going to have it 103 as we are back underway. Brophy's going to lead them back
Chad on the move
down into turn number 1. What you see right there, Butch Davis is defending a hard charging Chad Frankenfield. Davis is able to win this battle.
It's going to take advantage of this one. Sorry, cut you off.
Yeah.
Immediately almost.
Yeah, absolutely. This battle is not over. It's Frankenfield trying to clear Davis on the inside.
Look how much faster this higher line is, though. He can get under him, and he's going to get under him here, but as soon as you get on corner exit down the straight, then he starts pulling away a little bit. And all Chad's doing down there is scrubbing his tires a little bit more than Butch is. Now he sends it in there. Now he might have a good shot down the main straight. No, I don't think so this time.
No, but I think it's just going to be a matter of time before Chad Frankenfield is able to overtake Butch Davis for that third spot.
Well, look at
Davis.
Butch is making some time up on Chad here because he's got clean air. So Chad's going lower. Butch is staying higher. So Butch is getting clean air, and now he's up on Chad. Brophy's kind of checked out. He's up the road by 0.6 now already.
This has to be static for Brophy there, and obviously his tires, they got some mileage on them. But as much as he sees this side-by-side racing and everybody racing each other hard, he's able to extend his lead. He has to come in, but this has to be. He's got to be loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror.
Ethan Stanley on the riding the bumper, I guess. The berm, even though this isn't a dirt track, used to be back in a long, long time ago. 3 wide now with Craig. Oh, nice job, guys. Real good. Presley Soar, Nick Sudik. This is a good battle between two really skilled drivers. Presley Sora is one tough guy, I'll tell you. I didn't race against him, but I spotted for a driver that was racing against him in a Marconi Indy 500 right before the broadcast ban for IndyCar, and he drove us extremely hard. Much respect to him.
As we see Nicholas Sudik in the number 22 machine, he has now cracked the top 10. Ryan Scholl is 9th, Ethan Stanley is 8th, Forsythe 7th, Hobbs 6th, Jared Rexon 5, Chad Frankenfield holding steady at 4, Butch Davis 3, Simpson 2, and Jason Brophy still leading the point as we complete lap 109. So Brophy, like I said, mileage on his tires,
62 laps.
Mileage on his tires,
62 laps.
And he is still strong out in front. So interesting strategy that Brophy has we got to think he's got to be coming in soon, as you see the pit strategy come up there on the right side of what you had pointed out there.
Oh, I'm just still watching the battle between Chad and Pete. Finally got the job done on Butch.
Took him a while, yeah. Yeah.
But he has, and let's see if we can work on the other Chad up the road there now. Of course, Jason's still leading, so we've got Chad to keep on Pete. So we're waiting, obviously, on the inevitable to see when those lap 47 tyres on our front two leading. Cliff, isn't it?
Yes, yep, that's when they pitted last, was on 47, 64 laps on this current set of tires for Brophy, Simpson, Davis, and Rexing. They got 64 laps on the current set.
How long the chat out there is the moment, Mark said, as long as it's yeah, we've got there. Bad luck bites again, stuff like that. Yeah, good to get the chat out there, please. Get a little fired up there, give us your thoughts about everything. What are you gentlemen out there? Oh, do we have an uncautioned speedway? I know for a fact because my mouse starts flashing like crazy, or yellow.
We'll see what happened here, if we can see it here in the logs.
Yeah, as we wait for that.
Race control.
Yeah. As we wait for that, it is the fifth caution at lap 114.
They're going to
So
go
see
in
a little
now,
bit
the race
of
leaders, right?
Yeah, and I'm not sure who the incident is yet, but I would imagine Brophy and all them are going to pit. Yeah, I think it was Brian Edwards. I'm not sure what happened to Brian Edwards. I don't see an incident, but I see that he's missing part of his front wing. So, yeah, and here come the leaders down pit road. But while they're doing, let's check on the leaders here.
I think I see who it is. It's a spinner, and
We'll go back to live here.
Yeah, Brian Edwards, you're right. I think it's Brian that said spin.
Yeah, as we see well, it was the leaders into pit now. Chad Frankenfield takes over the lead, but you got to hand it to those handful of cars that stuck it out. I think they ended up with 65 laps on those tires. So they were looking for track position, and they have now may have positioned themselves to be real players in this if they get a caution or two to fall their way. And we talked about how races can be a war of attrition. So I think they've positioned themselves quite well with 85 laps to go.
Ethan Stanley as well, said the 91 machine, 24 positions gained, showing me that he's been down a pit road 3 times. Although he has his tyres are the same as the rest of the field there. On lap 75 was when he had a tyre change. So he's looking good for the Lake Norman Motorsports in P3. Let's see if he can continue up that good run.
Now he's had the move of the night so far about that Tokyo drift through turns 1 and 2. So we know he has fast hands, and it looks like his car is equally as fast at the moment. But 40 laps old are these guys all at the front. So the guys that pitted, and we want to look at position 10 on back. And I think they're going to be in max fuel saved, try to do this as possibly their last stop. I'm not sure they can go 80 laps. It'll be close. We'll see. They might be racing a strategy versus racing the cars in front of them going forward. We'll see. The guys in front of him, though, they all have to stop. They cannot make it to the end.
P6, right?
What's that?
Stop. P1 to P6 will have to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think maybe P7. Now we got three different strategies going on. We have the strategies of the top 5, top 6. They're all 41 laps of their current stint. Then starting at P7 to P9, they're on 18 lap stint, and then P10 on back. Everyone pitted there pretty much, and they're either a lap or 2 into the current stint under caution. So 3 different strategies going on. I don't think the first 2 are going to make it the distance. Maybe that second group. I doubt it. The third group might if they go max fuel conserve, but we'll see. They're trying to save every precious drop under this caution. They're fuel map 8, probably 6 gear. I know a lot of them are a lot higher on the racetrack than I would be. I'd be right down on that yellow line, trying to go around the shortest distance possible here.
Yeah, your thoughts out there, Derik, and anybody in the chat, please give us your thoughts as to whether or not those cars that are boxed on lap 114 can do this remaining 82 and change if it's all green to the way to the end. It's,
yeah, if they do, if they do, that's going to be a lot of fuel saving. But even if it's a lot of fuel saving, I still worry about their tires, because I would think, doing the math, they may come about 80 laps, or 20 laps short. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here as Chad French has found his way back to P1, and he's going to lead the group back to the green flag as we're back underway at lap 119. We are on board with the second place machine of Gavin Hibbs in the strictly stock Motor Speedway caution. So as soon as we get back underway, another caution comes out. Hopefully we'll be able to see what brought this yellow out.
Presley Stora. Actually, no, we got Alan Stover and Presley Stora. I think 2 cars are involved in a.
And this is actually going to allow these drivers to get a little bit more fuel saving and
absolutely.
tire saving, of course.
So here is Stover. He was on that different oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. He drove right up into the side of Presley, and he gets split.
Damaged. Let's see if those other cars.
Oh, close. Butch threaded the needle like twice on a single turn. So way to go, Butch.
This is one of the reasons, gentlemen, why you always really want to be at the front of the factory. I know that you were talking about that before, Gary, saying you don't mind being behind some of these drivers and then, playing your strategy card out there and going down to the river, let's say, turning the river card at the last minute there and then going all in. If we're playing poker, a few drivers are going in. Jason's going in again.
Yeah, Brophy is going in. Yeah, you live by the sword and you die by the sword. I mean, racing back there, you can get collected with an incident like that. However, I really just prefer to have everything happening in front of me, downrange, so to speak. Eyes downrange, always looking, finding what's going on. Presley's going to try to preserve, maybe get that thing repaired. He's kind of came in with the crab walk. This isn't quite crab country here in New Hampshire. It's lobster country, but we'll see if we get that repaired a little bit, maybe make up a lap or so. But Brophy back underway, topping off the tank, and that is key. He might be able to make it now.
No, I'm thinking they've just gone in now. They only just went in about 4 laps or so before.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a top up to go to the end.
Yeah, top off to go to the end, I think. Yeah.
Sacrifice that track position right now, would you? Just to do that.
And again, and we'll look at Simpson riding on the very bottom there.
Hey guys, I know the answer.
Oh, here we go.
This is Mark Murphy.
I know the answer.
Reporter. Yes, sir.
So you can go in map 5. You can go 70 laps. Is what we figured out.
Ooh, so close.
Yeah, it was 79 to go, and then when we actually do go, we'd probably be 70. Let's say 77 to go when we go green again.
Yeah, Brophy and them guys are really good. Brophy and them cats are really good at saving fuel. But 7 laps might be a tall order. If they get another caution, maybe they can make it, but they would be slow. The time differential is about 2 to 3 tenths a lap, so they'd be slow, but they could make it. If they get 2 more yellows, they'll be king. Sorry, I thought I'd drop by and drop that tidbit.
I think, for example, we would probably definitely get another caution with 70 something.
Oh,
what do you think, gentlemen?
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing too. They're gambling. It's going to go green until maybe late, and then Chad and them guys will be a lap down from pitting under green. I think that front group that Chad's leading, they're probably planning on stopping in another 20-30 laps maybe, would be my guess.
47 laps on their current stint. 47 laps.
A few more drivers.
Yeah.
Jared just went in, and Bill went in too a lap later. So.
Yeah, caution laps essentially don't count. So, I would say they're probably going to be in probably about lap 150 or so, and then they're going to be good to the end. Brophy and them guys, they need some help, but it'll be interesting to see. Gary, I'm sorry I wrecked your car again. We'll have to work on that.
It's all right.
But it is what it is. Sometimes there's just nowhere to go. One of the things, that you might, that people ask all the time, well, you saw him wrecking, why couldn't you just miss him? These things don't change direction, especially in the middle of a corner.
Yeah, you're right. And also when you let off the accelerator, the back end is very, very loose with these things. It just kind of unloads all that. You're not getting that downforce. It's like an instant brake, but all of a sudden the downforce comes off the car.
Yeah,
and it's a little tough. Yeah.
It is the center of pressure, and you just loop it. So, it's unfortunate, and it happens. The other thing that I wanted to kind of point out to you guys is there are cliffs with the tires as you get them going. They're really, really, they're going to struggle for a lap or two, then they're going to be good for about 5 to 10 laps, and then there's a cliff, and you don't have any grip for a lap or two. Then you got plenty of grip, and then about mid-run, there's another cliff, and then you're good again. So kind of keep an eye on that. That's something I experienced.
Going green.
Here we go. I'll get out of your hair.
Driver
Mark,
expert.
Yeah, well, I can't believe Mark can figure out the maps and fuel strategy, but he can't figure out how to avoid a wreck. I don't understand.
Oh, shots fired.
He told you about the cliff of the tires. That's very interesting, and that's a good timer that iRacing have, actually, isn't it, to give that, because that's very realistic, actually. That happens in most sports a lot. We don't see that on the TV broadcast booth, but that's what the drivers are feeling. And, Mark's going to... he's going to murder you later on, so...
I'm gonna have to sleep with one eye open.
That's okay. That's okay as long as you get Brophy in here for an interview and ask him how he did getting on and off pit lane. It'll be just fine.
I have to jot that down and be like, hey, Mark Murphy. Wondering minds like Mark Murphy want to know. But all right, back here. Lap 126 here at the New Hampshire 200. Chad Frankenfield has regained the top spot. He was the pole winner. If you're just tuning in here, he's led most of the laps so far, and if it wasn't for a bad pit stop, he would probably be out in front for the whole race.
Actually, he's on a bit of a different strategy, and I think that's what that pit stop was equated to. He stopped, and everyone else in front of him decided not to. But he has been the leader of that strategy group the entire time. So that's the good news. Now, can he make it to the end? That's the bad news, because I don't think he will be able to.
No, we don't think he will be.
I think we have figured out. We've put our massive brains together up here, or maybe the other two. To figure out that there are 2 different strategies in this race here with about
3, actually 3, really.
Okay, 3, see? So Chad Frankenfield and his group is on 1, and then...
we got Forsyth, not Forsyth, Simard and P5. He's on a different strategy. They all pitted 31 laps ago. And then starting with Forsyth, he's 15 laps ago.
Pit stop fantastic graphics that you come up there and show you that. But yeah, you're
right. We can do that.
We know for a fact though we are presuming, as we mentioned, that those drivers that boxed on lap 120, you won't see them because a little bit further down. But that's the likes of Jason Brophy and Chad Simpson. We believe that the reason for them coming back in again was because they can stretch it to the end on vapors, perhaps. With 7 to go. That's if it's green all the way. But this cruise you're seeing that and your pit stop strategy graphics at the moment, that's the one that you can see the big difference is going to come as well.
Del Porto up 18 spots, and around goes Craig. And we're going to get a caution here. He didn't hit the wall. That was close. We watch it right here.
Definitely now means that those other drivers who did box on lap 120 and the likes of Jason Brophy, they're fine now. They're going to have enough with this caution to go to the end. Will they box? I don't think so. I think they're going to go for...
Nah, track position's everything. I'd stay out. And you see, down too low. And that's where the car, if you get the car too low, it will. Look at that on the high side. Not sure who that was, but that gets a candidate for lucky driver of the race right there. But too low, and then the back end comes around. Craig was really hustling it, though. I'm giving Craig all the credit in the world there because I know he is a tough driver and drives every lap like it's the last one.
Okay, so the leader's coming in. We expected that. And, that going all the way. It should be going on. Nicholas has stayed out, I think.
So
yeah,
Victor Del Porto is going to stay out. He's going to gamble a little bit longer. Nick Sudik is going to stay out. He's going to gamble. And Brophy, as you figured, here he is. He's worked his way up to P3. And where did I say the easiest place to pass people is? On pit road.
Pit road. Yeah, exactly. Certainly is. And it's also spotting your pit road as well too. It's not the easiest thing to do. Of course, in our broadcast version that you see, you don't see the lollipop person and stuff like that too. And of course, you are going through ghosted cars depending on your position. That's also very difficult. You make that little slip up there and you have to reverse back into your pit road when it's close like that. You cost yourself a second and change. That can make a big difference as well.
So as you see there's Nick way down low trying to save some extra precious fuel there. We have a lap car in the battle here. Alan Stover in that Penske-looking old Marlboro days. Team Penske. He might actually pit here. He's a lap down, so that the pits would not have been open for him. He will be getting out of the way. So no wave around cars. Del Porto is the leader. Last stop for Del Porto, 35 laps to go. The lap 100.
Derik, your thoughts on who now? Because looking strong for this race. If we got 66 to go, if we go green at the end.
Well, if we go green to the end, and we're not reinventing the wheel here. It looks like to me the group of cars that were on the Jason Brophy pit strategy, if this stays green, it may have just paid off for him.
I did notice that Jason Rexing only is 12 laps into his stint. That's 2 laps less than everyone else around him.
This is definitely going to be spicy, dicey.
I like this. This is what makes it entertaining for me. Look at Nick, just riding that apron, coming up on pit road, pulling back on the track. Now I got other cars following down the low side, so everyone's kind of catching on now to stay on the bottom, save some fuel, clutch and coast. If you have the button map, some cars might actually be out there turning their engine off, turning it back on. You can do that in these cars.
There are a lot of little tweaks that you can do in iRacing. Of course, there's a lot of different things about the clutches and things like that that you can do for your buttons and mappings and things that some people say sometimes it's cheating, and it's not. Well, if it's there and it's available and you have the equipment configured for it.
Yeah, it's just a sim, guys. It's just a sim.
Yeah, you're not going to lose your multi-million-dollar-a-year seat contract.
No, no.
Drivers, they get upset sometimes because you are fuming in the car. Of course, you put a lot of hours into it, but you got to remember too at the same time, of course. I guess people tend to mimic the real world drivers. They get upset. Real world drivers, of course, are the ones that A, risking their lives, B, have huge contracts, and it's their job.
Yeah.
For real. So anyway.
Yeah, I used to broadcast with a partner and used to sign off. It's more than just a game. It's iRacing. And I actually have a sticker on one of my monitors that reminds me if I ever drive, if I get upset, I just look at a sticker that says, it's just a game. But we're having fun, and I love seeing all these strategies playing out here. I love seeing everyone, giving it their best, trying something a little bit extra to save a little bit extra fuel, riding the apron, one of them, pitting a couple laps less than everyone else. Porto's going to bring him down the green here. He has 38-lap-old tires, so a couple things he's got to worry about is bringing his car up to speed and not spinning those wheels, and Nick is giving him a no counter. Brophy's going to get a roll on Nick. Sorry.
There we go. As we are back underway here at lap 138, the excitement has picked up, so to say, as Victor Del Porto who has not pitted for 38 laps now, out in front. Got a little bit of mileage on those treads he has on. Nick Sudik right there in P2. Rookie and current points leader Jason Brophy is third. Simpson fourth. And Jared Rexing round out your top five. So you see Jason Brophy there trying to overtake P2. Look to the inside, but Sudik was right there to slam the door shut. So Brophy's going to get back in line. He's going to try the high side this time. We'll see Sudik take that low line, but all Brophy can do is pull up behind the wing of
poking
Sudik
out there.
As there we go, as he pokes out, as he says, to the inside, and he is able. Well, he's door to door now.
Shut the door, exactly. He needs to shut the door on Necros because he just passed him. Because that high line has great exit speed coming out of corner. Done at the moment. They're going to catch Victor down the road for sure. But Victor's tires, no.
Victor's going to have to stop. They can let Victor run away for all I think these guys care, because Victor's going to have to stop. Now, if Victor gets a big lead, he can actually then go to max fuel conserve as well. But I still don't think that's going to get him to the finish. I could be wrong. That was my first broadcast. We've already done some stupid stuff already, so we could be wrong.
Well, if he gets a 34-second gap, he might have enough to go in and out. It's a big stretch of 34-second gap in it with 59 to go.
Butch on the high side on Frankenfeld.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long Del Porto stays out on those rubbers. And then, as Gary just said, what's the rest of the field going to do? Are they going to let him just ride around as the leader, knowing that he has to pit one more time, and Jason Brophy knowing that he doesn't have to? It's curious how this is going to play out, as we are just about 50 laps left here. Victor Del Porta still in
battle right here. Wow.
Yeah, the battle in
right
the middle,
there.
Of course. We've got to remember too. We had a pulse at the moment. Gavin Hibbs. I got a feeling, gentlemen, that tonight's going to be a good night. I also got a feeling that something's going to brew into another caution here. And of course, as you get deeper and deeper into the race, that's when drivers will start to get a little bit more greedier for those critical points in the championship.
Hibbs, I think, smacked the wall there. Yeah, I tell you what, Chad's pass of Butch was very reminiscent of Michael Andretti in '92 in the first race here. He took it on the outside of Bobby Rahal in corner 2 and got the pass on him. I don't think Bobby was expecting Michael to go up that high and take that position. Much the same way, I don't think Butch was either, but you have to concede a little bit because that's the faster line. Chad now down low on Jared and gets the position there, so Chad on the move.
Yeah, he's on the move. Two positions in just 2 laps. He is currently P5 and looking for more as we're on lap 146. Victor Del Porta still showing the way. You'll see another car get high
Nick,
up in the marbles there. Jason Brophy, your points leader, is second. But Del Porta right now with a 2.2 second lead over Jason Brophy, so he's got a lot of he's used up a lot of tread on his tires there, Gary, and we got to be thinking that it's only got to be a matter of time as we ride on board here with Victor Del Porta. It's only got to be a matter of time before he has to come into the pits here.
Absolutely, but he's not saving. He's not saving at all. He is pushing.
He doesn't need to, isn't he?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, he just send it. Just send it.
And he's praying for obviously for caution.
Yeah.
Probably trying to blind it off, because he's lapping, of course, 23-3 to anybody else is 23-5.
Something you don't really notice here at this track. Right here, as you go into 3, it goes downhill a little bit. There's a little bit of a rise on the backstretch. So we'll watch him one more time as he comes around. Turn 4 exits, come out to the wall. Start-finish line right there. Start going into 2. And you watch 2 kind of rise a little bit on you. So you're going uphill. Now you're going downhill just a little bit. And then you actually go downhill just a little bit more when you get to turn 3. So there's very subtle elevation changes here. Very, very subtle. But it matters because it makes each end handled differently.
See if you want to actually switch back to Ethan Stanley mode. He's the biggest gain in only one machine. Still gain 18 places.
Well, get on it right there.
And there's a big squabble happening in those cars as they're exchanging Christmas cars quite early in the season here. And they're all similar tyres as well.
Yeah.
So no massive advantages.
I thought Ethan was going to set it on the high side there on Butch. Butch shut the door on him. Oh! And we just had a blinker. Not sure what happened.
Yeah, I got that as well too, so that's...
Oh, battle right there for Nick and Chad. Or, excuse me, Chad and Chad, excuse me.
The Chad show, yeah.
Yes. We got the Giga Chads right here.
Will the real Chad please stand up?
I see what you did there, but you know, speaking of Chad Frankenfield there for a minute, you got to think he's got to be hungry.
Oh, around, and he takes out the leader.
Oh, there it is.
Nick! Oh my goodness, Nick! I hate seeing it. I hate it to get out the leader. Oh my!
And that is going to
Oh,
Monkey Red.
that's
No pun
painful.
intended.
That is painful, and I think that's just old tires. He's pushing it, and
And that's
whoop!
going to help Victor, of course, because he's like sitting there crossing his fingers, hasn't he? Going,
Oh, and Chad had nowhere to go.
I need to get this car into pit road.
Oh, Chad had nowhere to go, yeah, God, that's just awful. Rexine almost got into it too. He just narrowly missed the car on the escape. That's just, I hate it for everybody involved. I really, really do.
You know, I was just going to say that Chad was hungry for his first win.
Oh, here comes
in the
Victor.
2024 season, as we see Victor Telporta coming into the pits, but it seems like...
Oh, we got Butch coming in too.
Yep, Chris as well. So
a handful of cars.
Fresh tires could go to the end, and then especially probably most likely maybe
That's all.
looking at a knife caution there, gentlemen, because it's starting to get a bit of spicy out there, and you're going to have a little bit of the beef between these drivers from.
Only 45 laps to go, yeah. So top off the, you're getting fresh tires. You don't even need a full tank. Deporto will come back out 7th. Brophy, by virtue of just sticking her out, is now your leader.
So it looks like, you know, depending on, you know, caution-wise, I don't think he has that to worry about. But
I think he's good to go.
Yeah, I think his strategy may play out here. But just to get back to Frankenfield for a minute, I know he was hungry for his first victory in 2024. His season has got off to a rocky start, and now it's even more rockier with this looks like potentially probably a DNF in this race this evening. The pole sitter thought he had everything played correctly, but unfortunately a car got loose with tires on it. The tires are worn, and as you said, Gary, Chad just had nowhere to go, and he became an innocent bystander, as so many other cars have this evening.
Oh, you hate seeing it. Chad's my boss here, and of course Nick is one of my broadcast partners at Race First. Whenever we need a substitute, he steps in. I hate seeing it both ways there. Just both are good drivers, and been good to me. So I hope. I think it's just a bit of a racing thing. No hard feelings there, I hope. But good showing for both of them, but just came up about 40 laps short.
$8 short, as they say, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if this was an Indy fixed race, this would be like 100 laps. So we would have been over by now, but they would have been happy at that performance. So, yeah, you see Brophy's not even worried about... I'm sorry, real quick, I'm going to cut you off. Brophy's not even worried about saving fuel. He's riding up high.
Yeah, Bill's come back into pit road there, 31 machine from P13. We'll drop those places. But, yeah, I think that strategy from Jason and Chad had very much played, because we were gambling on that one, weren't we? We were gambling on trying to work out whether or not they can make it to the end without cautions. Of course, two of those cautions have been thrown since there. So now they can definitely fuel save a little bit. Their tyres, once again, aren't that much difference. You're looking at about 13 laps different. That's nothing. But we've seen that before, haven't we? We've seen, 20, 30 lap difference in the tyres, and there's not that much super pace. So now they're all cars, of course, going to be running very close to the empty for the gasoline mark, which means the cars are going to be very, very light.
Yeah. But if now the first three are almost on the same strategy, Brophy pitted 36 laps ago, so we're 157 minus 36. That tells us he pitted a lap 121. We heard that there's about 70 laps under green, so going to be tight. But I don't think, and the reason I got the camera on Hibbs here, I don't think Hibbs has the worry. I think Hibbs is good to go to the end. Maybe he doesn't even have to save at all.
All we need now is a bit of push to pass.
No push to pass on ovals, unfortunately. Not
Sim World. We could add it.
It used to be on IndyCars back before the DW12 came out, the old IRO5 and 09s, even though it's not in the sim. They did have push to pass, and it was just a temporary increase in the engine mapping, and that's how they cheated the system. But we're getting ready to go green. They might do push to pass when they have the hybrids on ovals. We'll see. That'll be pretty interesting.
All right, as we are back under green, the aggression now, the driving aggression from these drivers, I think it's going to ramp up a little bit as we are just about 40 laps to completion. Rookie Jason Brophy, the points leader, has the lead. Jared Rexing right behind him in second. Simpson in third, you see there on the right-hand side of your screen. The last time that these cars have pitted, and we have got our math calculators out. Gary doesn't need a calculator, that big brain that he has.
I don't know about that.
We've come to the conclusion that these cars do not need to pit again, so these cars are going to be running wide open, ladies and gentlemen, for the remainder laps of this race. So patience is going to have to be a virtue here. But at some point, patience is going to go out the window, especially if you're a driver that is looking to get their first win in this 2024 season. Or
here's Hibbs.
If you're in Hibbs there, trying to take the number 2 position away from Jared
23-2. He's right on pace with Brophy. Brophy 23-1, Hibbs 23-2, Rexing P2 at 23-3. So he's actually faster than P2 right now. He's going to get a good run on him here. I think P2 might be saving a little bit. Hibbs to the inside.
You can shut the door on him. No, he can't. He'll have to
Yeah, he'd have to be a bad slide job, yeah. And Schold, same thing. He's now tracking down Simpson. So I think Simpson's saving.
Jason Murphy leading this race at the moment isn't, because
20, yeah, last lap 23-1. Purple lap was Frank Frankenfeld 22-9 earlier in the race.
And they are approaching very close to some of the best laps that they did earlier, so you should see some of those times tumble. Some fresh tires, of course, no gasoline. Great battle brewing with Ryan and Chad.
Let's get back there, Ryan Chad. Last 5 laps, Brophy averaged 22-2. Rexing 22-2, Hibbs 22-2. They're all about the same pace, top 3 right now.
If you're one of these young drivers, Hibbs, Forsyth, Stanley, Simard, that are looking for their first win in either 2024 or the iRacing career in general, how aggressive do you become here as these laps sort of tick away and you're right there? You can see the start finish line. You can see that number 1 pole position, or our number 1 finishing position. How aggressive do you become?
Well, Craig, you mentioned Forsyth. He is no stranger to this. I've known him as long as I've been on the sim, so we're going on now 4 or 5 years. And he is one of the most, he races hard every single lap and is one of the smartest drivers that I've ever raced with and against. He might also have a slightly damaged car from that spin. We don't know that for a fact, but he has all the action in front of him. He is also good to go to the end, or it's going to be really close. No, he's good to go to the end, so he's pushing. I think he just right now wants to manage his car. Some of the other guys up in front of him, Brophy's also about as smart as they come as well. He might be a rookie here in the league, but, I mean, this guy has multiple wins at the Lionheart level, multiple wins at the Indy Fixed and Indy Open level. This guy knows what he's doing. For Rexing, Hibbs, and Schuld, I'm not familiar with them in terms of racing with them before, but just let the action come to you. And it looks like Hibbs is actually kind of doing that as he's now starting to run down Rexing a little bit here. Trying to stay on the high side. Now he's running in his tire tracks. Seems to run better down low on turns 3 and 4. But just keep the action in front of him. Don't overdrive the car, because we've seen clearly what happens already today. When you overdrive the car, it comes around on the back end on you. Comes around when you come a corner exit.
Victor Del Porto as well is putting a lot of pressure on Chad Simpson. That's about a big fight.
Yeah, Del Porto's good to go to the end.
And he's also got one of the most interesting liveries I've ever seen in Indcar. Like a brown with deep purple. That's not very often for that driver, the 27 machine.
So he's amongst the Brazilian brigade that we see a lot on the Monday night, or former Monday night, now Tuesday night Indy Fixed Top Split. And those guys are racing in the spirit of Ayrton Senna, but channeling it on an oval a lot of times. And they race hard every single lap. And when you see the Brazilians in your rearview mirror, you need to pick it up.
Yeah, Brazil is famous for its motorsports in Formula 1 all over the world. But he's trying his absolute best to get past Chad Simpson. Chad Simpson holding the high line, which is all Chad can do to defend. And as long as he can get the exit speed out of the corner and covering him off, there's not too much.
But it's going to be side by side this time down the straight. There's no... Can't quite clear him.
Victor Charlie, what's your
Roger, Roger. Good clearance, Clarence.
These cars could fly literally upside down if you
Absolutely. In aerodynamic theory, if you could put these cars upside down, just like the Formula One cars, and he gets the pass done, they could stick to the road. They produce that much downforce. But Deporto gets the pass. A little bit of a overcorrect there coming into the corner. Probably got into that corner a little bit hotter than he wanted to. But they move him up to 5th. 19 spots. So look at the top 5. Other than Brophy, 19 spots for Rexing, 10 for Hibbs, 16 for Schuld, 19 for Deporto. I mean, what's that tell you?
He's the biggest gainer all night long, even though currently the moment's down at P8. He still take that one week out of the week. Battle at the moment, P2 is brewing.
Yeah, we're getting it.
Gavin's going to try and fight his way past Jarrett, and they don't want to let Jason get. If you don't want to let Jason get away with it, if you want to get a race with him.
Yeah, what action we have here on the track, particularly for this battle for P2, as Hibbs
sends it.
Rexing. There he goes
Sends
down
it.
to the inside.
Sends it. He's going to have lap traffic there to act as a pick. There's nowhere to go. Brilliant. That is a brilliant setup and pass. Great job. The dude is playing chess with checkers right now.
That's when you need a teammate, isn't it? Really?
That is awesome. Good job.
Now Hibbs' next objective here in 23 laps to go chase down race leader.
He's got time.
Points leader.
Got time.
Jason Brophy. He's got plenty of time to do it. Let's see how much he can shave off here. As like I said, we're down to 23 laps. Lap traffic currently isn't going to be a problem, so we're going to sit back and see if Hobbs there can come up with his first victory in the 2024 season. But all he has to do is climb that mountain, and that mountain right now is Jason Brophy.
All you have to do is pass Jason Brophy. Easier said than done.
Well, the mountain, of course, this weekend for the iRace in 12 hours, Bathurst, but that's a different mountain at this point. But his tyres, remember, Gavin, are 13 laps fresher than our race leader. So will that come into play with 21 to go?
I think Brophy will encounter lap traffic here rather soon. He's 3 seconds behind Stover, who's right up the road from him, so he'll encounter him pretty quick. And remember, the draft envelope's about 1.5 seconds, and when you get in that 1.5 second window, not only are you getting the effects of the draft, but you're getting the effects of dirty air as well.
good
So
little
as
time for a quick shout out, I think, at the moment while we go to the home stages, of course, of our sponsors out there.
yeah, if you want. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and shout those sponsors out, because obviously if it wasn't for them, we would not be able to bring you this race and more here on the Elite Racing League and the Elite Racing Network.
Let's see. You want me to read them?
You go ahead. You go ahead, mate. Your voice is just so smooth.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's like listening to advertising on a radio, isn't it? Go ahead, please.
Trying to find the IndyCar ones. Of course, we want to thank the big guys there. The Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. Constraints catalyze creativity. We help business punch above their weight class. That's Blue Egg Marketing. Of course, we got Worldwide Technology Raceway. Everyone knows Worldwide Technology Raceway, the motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis. It features a 1.25-mile track and as well as a NASCAR Cup Series, Craftsman Truck Series, and NTT IndyCar Series dates. Check them out at their website. Hopefully, it's all in the description right there. What am I missing, guys? This is my first time. I just don't want to get. I don't want to. Well, we got to talk about the Warriors for Peace. The Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. Of course, they are the title sponsors here of the ERL IndyCar Series.
Excellent. Good job on that one, Victor. Del Porto got the job on Ryan, so he clawed his way up in the P4. Probably one of the fastest men on the racetrack right now, certainly one of the biggest gainers.
Yeah, last 5 laps, DePorto lap average is 23.4. He is faster than the at least the car in front of him. Hibbs, 23.4 last 5 laps, 23.4 also for Brophy. So Brophy and Hibbs are roughly at the same pace at this point with about 15 to go.
Hold on tight, Derik, isn't it? This is where you want to put your seat in the upright position and get your tray tables stowed away because Hibbs, Gavin at the moment, he's down under a second and change, I think, from our race leader. Chipping away from Jason Brophy. And with 14 to go, he's got to just give it everything he possibly can right now. Have you got any reserves in that tank?
Let's ride with him.
Yeah, as we're riding along with the 95 machine, as you see him scrape the outside retaining wall there across the start-finish line with 13 to go. He can get that lap lead down to under a second, but then Jason Brophy hits the go pedal and kind of extends his lead a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see what Hobbs has left in the tank as we're riding along with him.
Switch through as well. It's Brent Craig and Chad Simpson. That's slicing and dicing. They also got Keith and Stanley, the 91 machine, who gained the 19 positions. That's just the flip of the 91, isn't it? On that one. So the 91 gained 19, and that's getting really spicy and dicey in 6, 7, and 8. And we'll see how that's going to pan out, of course. Yeah.
I gotta wonder how much Chad has fallen back there. Sorry to mean to catch up. I want to wonder how far Chad's fallen back. Simpson, and maybe he might have to stop one more time for a splash. We'll see. He seems to be at the same pace as with everyone else around him.
Because they boxed on lap 20, the same. Huge. They boxed on 120. So
yeah, Chad's 69 laps into his current stint. 69.
As we are now just down to 10 laps left to go, you see the pit stop strategy right there on the right-hand side. The top 5 remain the same there. Points leader, Jason Brophy, Hibbs, Jared Rexing, Victor Del Porta, and Ryan Scholl are your top 5 with now just 9 laps to go. So Hibbs has actually cut that down under a second to 0.88 seconds. So Hibbs
getting closer,
making some ground up, and he's getting ever so closely as these laps tick off. He's got it down to 0.6 seconds. And look at the high line.
Victor's going for a podium here on Jared in the dying stage of this race of 9.
Oh, block.
I don't think that nobody's going to be able to touch. Well, there's half a second gain there on Jason. That's going to be Corey curious, of course. Well, that's going to be spicy and dicey. But Ken Victor, who's been the real mover, hasn't he, in our last segment?
Second half of the race. Yeah.
I don't know, but with 8 laps to go, I think Hibbs has found the line. His car is dialed in. He's got that now down.
There he is.
To just 0.2 seconds.
There he
so
is.
He is closing quickly on the
pass
race
strategy,
leader
yeah.
and the points leader. And I would say, Gary, probably within the next few laps or so, if his car continues to eat on that high line, as he may do it here, he may get around and
and you got lap traffic in the way,
Jason
too.
Brophy here.
Yeah, Brophy's defending. He's gone to that high line. He saw where he's gaining, so see he's planted up there in lane 3 and 4. Now he's going to have lap traffic he has to contend with.
This is going to be good. If you're Jason here, you've got to be just thinking, come on, click those laps over there. Come on, Barney, I want to see you quicker and quicker. It's going to be crucial where they catch that lap car.
And this is a bad spot right here. Let's see.
Can Gavin hold it up on the inside here? Good exit. Will it help, actually, Gavin Hibbs, on the exit here?
Nice job. Nice job. Yeah. Definitely within the draft envelope. So he's getting a draft edge. 5 to go, 4 to go at the line.
Oh, that fence will come out and bite you if you get too close.
Yeah,
flowers first. Take it out for a dinner.
Gavin's a bit of an architect tonight. He's trying to knock down that turn 4 fence.
Oh, he's pushing, isn't he? Talk us through this one, Derik. What has he got to do here? What has Gavin got to do?
Well, as you see, he's coming up on that high line that he's been continually to run. But Jason Brophy right there in the tracks there, he's trying everything he can to block. He sets him up, tries to take it to the inside. And I think Brophy was able to slam the door on that pass, but he's got to do that 3 more times.
He's going to send it.
As we go to the inside this time. Does Hobbs have enough to get in there? No, still door to door as they come to the start-finish line. 2 to go. Brophy's still in the lead. He's able to slam
he sends it right there at the very end. He's clear.
That's tires. I'd say that's tires. That's probably the little bit of difference in the tires.
Brophy's not out of this.
He's going to try to do it. Back.
Whoa. Brophy's not going to give him any room. He's going to make that exit entrance wide as possible.
Contact. I think it was.
All right, fellas, this is the final lap. Let's see what we got.
Sends it high side. He's going to have a faster exit. Down the back of the wall.
Oh.
Come on, guys. Keep your foot in it. Keep your foot in it, guys. Come on.
Oh.
He blocks. Down low. That's a legal move.
Go, final time as they come to the flag. Who's it going to be? Looks like it's going to be Hobbs as
what
he tries
a race.
one last time, but it is.
What a race. What a win.
Oh, that's got to be exciting. What a finish there. 0.05 seconds. Wow. Heartbreak for Jason Brophy, who had the lead late in the race. But Hobbs ended up finding that high groove, that high line, and he is going to ride it to his first victory in the 2024 IndyCar season. Fellas, what a race.
Give us a burn out there, Gavin. You don't have to return those boots, my friend. They are worn out as he's going to spin his way across the line here. New Hampshire is yours, my friend. Congratulations, you're a race winner.
As we're seeing this long burnout there at the start-finish line for Gavin Hobbs, congratulations to him. When we get the official race results, we will throw them up, and then also to the 3 podium finishers, we will bring them on. I'm curious to hear
there we
the
go.
remarks. There we go. As our race results there, Gavin Hobbs by 0.05 seconds over rookie and current points leader Jason Brophy. Jared Rexing rounds out the podium in 3rd. Victor Del Porta, who had the lead late in the race, finishes 4th. And Craig Forsyth finishes 5th.
What a recovery for Craig. What a recovery for him.
And then the Chad Simpson finishes 6th. Ryan Scholl finishes 7th. Ethan Stanley, Butch Davis, and Michael Hosick round out your top 10. Then it is Chris Simard, Mark Rebellious, Bill Colley, Chad Frankenfield, your pole winner for the race, Alan Stover, Nicholas Sudik, Presley Sora, and Brian Edwards round out your top 18. Moving on to position 19 there. If we have for the graphics,
If they'll do it for me.
if the graphics will roll over, maybe the graphics are just as worn out as the announcers are from this race.
Right, yeah. Let's see.
Hopefully we're able to see
I don't know what the deal is here.
All right, well, you just have to, it's technology these days. You have to just take it and run with it. But
on the results, just click your arrow to the right a couple of times. There you go. You got it.
There we go. Let's see. Where did we leave off at? 19th was AJ Hobson. 20th, who we heard from earlier, Mark Murphy. 21st, Tyler Fody. 22nd, Joseph Morales. 23rd, Adriano Pinero. He got into an accident earlier in the race. 24th, Corey Johnson. 25th, Eric Macedo. 26th, Kevin Hayes. 27th, Joshua Tucker. And 28th, Tony Showen. So what a race that we have had so far. 5 great races into this young season. Then the New Hampshire 200 lived up to the billing. Gavin Hobbs on the last lap was able to hold off current points leader for the victory, and now we're just waiting for the drivers to get out of their vehicles, kind of decompress there a little bit, and then we will hear, hopefully, from the 3 podium finishers that were able to capture a podium this evening. Fellas, before we get to talk to the drivers, thoughts on this exciting race and what an amazing finish.
Go ahead, Dean.
Well, I mean, it was like you had drivers, of course, as you know, Chad Frankenfield, that was leading the race for quite a bit, ended up in P14. And pit stop strategies came indefinitely into play, didn't they, at that point, because of a lot of the green flag racing that we had at the start. And then, of course, all those cautions came into the mix there, and we had like 3 different alternative strategies. Drivers had to use that. We had to start calculating if they're going to have enough gas to go to the end, the tires were going to go to the end, all that sort of jazz. And we knew that Jason, Brophy, and Gavin taking that little bit of a gamble earlier on towards the their caution when we were calculating all that. It worked out for both of those drivers at the end. Of course, one of them had to take it. Of course, we had Victor Del Porto taking a great little charge back towards the end there. Ethan Stanley, as I said, still 19 positions, biggest gain in the field. They even finished in P8. It's drivers all over the place. Fantastic racing. Battle action everywhere on the track there. So, yeah, give it away to Gavin, but got Jason just towards the end there. We'll have a chat to him too very soon.
Yeah, I say that Gavin passing Jason is along the lines of trying to pass Rick Mears in the closing laps or trying to pass Scotty Dixon in the closing laps of a real IndyCar race. I mean, that's how tough Jason Brophy is. And for someone to pull it off is no easy or small feat. So I imagine that he's exhausted and happy. And I can't wait to talk to him. We'll talk with Jason, see if it really was a tire situation there at the very end. And Jared Rexing, just drive a consistent race, get a great finish. I keep saying it, just keep the action in front of you, and he kind of proved it right there. But let's bring in, let's see, our third place finisher, Jared here. I might just call him Jason, but Jared, bring him in, and you guys can fire away.
Jared, congratulations on your podium finish this evening, third place. Talk about your race a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I deserve third, but there was a lot of attrition in this race, which I did not expect. 28 cars and it's a 1 mile track, it's a short track, but the setup was so tight that unless you went way high in your weight jacker, I really didn't expect the attrition that we saw. So I was just playing it smart, tried to save fuel and get as many spots as I could that way because I knew I wasn't good enough to get it any other way. So I'm pleasantly surprised to be here.
We watched. Go ahead, Dean.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Jared, and you boxed, I believe, overall 6 times that I'm looking at telemetry as well, too, whereas the 2 drivers ahead of you boxed 4 times at pit stops. So you gained 12 positions. As you said, you're not expecting to be here, but your driving was consistent, and you still were quick with those drivers. Your best time being at 23.2. You know, at 23 flat was the quickest. But, hey, it doesn't matter if you're going to be tasting the bubbly stuff on the podium.
Yeah, that's right. I pitted a few extra times because I was topping off with 100 to go, 90 to go. Those guys, including Brophy included, we were just pitting, trying to play the long game because we were already screwed on strategy from staying out earlier in the race, so we kind of had to do that, and it wasn't fun. I was saving fuel the last 150 laps of the race, but it turned out to be a podium strategy anyways, and almost a winning strategy with Brophy.
Jared, I know you are still, waiting for somebody to come along and to sign you to one of these car teams. If you were if you were going to sell yourself to somebody as to why they should sign you, how would you do that?
I don't know. I mean, I usually try to run a different strategy than the other guys. So if you want to know if an alternate strategy is going to work or not, I'm your guy because I'm the one who's going to take a chance and do it. So I mean, I don't bring a lot of know-how with weight jacker and row bar. Luckily, this is fixed setup, and that's all we get to do. But yeah, I mean, just I'm not afraid to take a chance on running an alternate strategy.
Well,
Jared,
you're all
this is $100 million a year contract. Come on, you gotta sell yourself a little bit.
Oh, is it now? Okay.
My final question to you before I throw it back over, and I do like to ask this from drivers. Now, are you a driver with racing boots, socks, or barefoot?
Oh, socks.
There you go.
And no gloves.
Oh, and no gloves. Interesting. All right.
You talk about a throwback, but Jared, it did take a different strategy tonight to bring home a podium finish P3, even though you don't think you deserve it. Who do you want to shout out to?
Yeah, shout out Gavin Hibbs on the win. I think that's his first win. I'm not sure, but he ran a smart race, ran a good race. So congrats to him. Thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast and making sure we all get to appreciate what we do. And shout out to my wife watching me.
The important shout out, yeah.
I was gonna say, that
get
should
that
be
one.
a shout out.
Yeah. That's
time.
yeah. That's the one he leaves on. That's the walk away shout out right there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah, Jared knows how to keep the missus happy. But Jared, congratulations, third place finish, and we will see you in Pocono next week.
Sounds good, guys. See ya.
Yeah, my kind of driver. I like the taking the path less traveled. Let's bring up Jason and let's see really if it was a worn out tires.
Second place finisher this evening, points leader going into the race. Jason Brophy. Jason, congratulations on your second place finish. Talk about the exciting race you had, and then the ending had to be a little heartbreaking.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you told me on lap 1 I'd finished second, I'd have been happy. You told me on lap 200 that I finished second, and I'm disappointed. It's good to be disappointed with a second. I just didn't have the speed. Yeah, to put it blunt, I didn't have it at the end of the race. I think my right front was falling off a cliff there a bit, but I just didn't have the ability to get into the corner smooth and get the car to a point where I wanted it. I felt like I was getting eaten up, and then I tried to get into the corner behind him and or try and I couldn't send it into the corner on him. Even Gavin, on his outside, it's like I spent so much time saving fuel, I forgot how to race. Because I was saving fuel from lap 1. It was just one of those, there's no real point going anywhere. And then I knew I didn't have the speed. Gavin blew by me on a restart and was just moving. And I knew, okay, at this point, I'm not winning this race from just running the same thing. And so just kind of figuring out what windows I knew I could make it. Topping up was the big play there. That put me in a position where I could go out there and just run Mat 5, and as long as Sudik was holding them up, didn't have to worry about the Porto. I could sit there and just ride, and did manage the gap, manage the fuel, no problems with the fuel, and then that caution. I don't know if I liked it or not. Based on what I saw, I probably would have lost to Chad anyway. If that wreck sucks, what happened to him, because I think he was definitely fast. Him, Gavin, and Adriano. I really wanted to combine their two names. Gavin and Adriano, I definitely seemed real fast. I don't know about anyone else. I was not definitely. So credit to everybody that really rolled this week. Happy to take home the second, even though it's real disappointing to get caught and your doors blown off. Really is what happened in the last 3 laps of a race. So
I think you kind of answered our next question. Is we could tell towards the end of the race, your lap times were falling off, and Gavin's was catching you slowly but surely. And then you talked about not having enough speed. Were you running out of speed just because of the fact that you knew your tires were going?
Yeah, I think they were at the end, but I don't think like I just couldn't find a place I was comfortable getting the car a consistent, feel into the corner. And then that meant I was playing catch up through the rest of it, especially at the end of the race there. I didn't feel like I was driving, frantic or anything. It's just getting my brake application right because I was just dragging the brake a little to get the nose to set. I couldn't get that. And then if I had, I there probably might have been able to run more weight jacker, but I'd done a full fuel run in a bit hotter than this, and I didn't know what I could go to. I didn't know where I could run it to. I hadn't run in this weather, and in the race I never really pushed, so I never really got to test this. And I didn't adapt nearly as well as Gavin and them did. They were more prepared and they were faster, and good on them. Whether it was tires, whatever, I didn't do a good enough job there leading up to the end of that.
But Jason, you had after that last caution, you held off quite well. I mean, you built up quite a bit of a lead there, and you were really with, I think it was pretty much close to about 10 to go. You had a second gap that you were kind of maintaining for a very long time, and then it was only literally at a few laps that was sliced down to about half a second to Gavin behind you. Was that because what was that? Because you said you were maintaining that obviously that lifting coasting for your fuel, but
Well, at that
do you
point, I
think that
wasn't
was
lifting and
tires
coasting.
really burning
So,
off
yeah, I don't know if I overheated the right front or what happened. Like, I definitely at the end of the race had 60% left in the right front, and I consider that kind of a threshold. But it just didn't respond. Like I was trying to find tools, obviously, but it just started to fall apart. Like I just lost grip. Um, and that's probably going to be how I drove in the first part. I was at the end of a full fuel run. That was the end of a full end-to-end stint. Like I ran out off two because I didn't have to manage in the end. Maybe I should have done a better job managing. I thought I was managing, but clearly I was eating up the right front quite a bit. So, I don't know that I did a good enough job managing while I could the right front. I should have probably backed it down a little more and kept the right front on a little better, and then had more at the end. But yeah.
I think you did because you had 13 laps less tires.
Yeah, but
Jason. I mean, we Gavin had, so you were a little bit of a disadvantage, but you fought like it didn't make any difference towards the end, and you were coming back. Actually, we thought we were going to retake Gavin to take that race win, which is what was absolutely amazing there, Jason. So that's probably the reason why you're leading the championship.
Yeah, I'll take it. Good points day for me. So.
Jason, again, congratulations. Second place finish, points leader going into Pocono next week. Any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to thank Josh Chin was helping me tonight for the first 180 something laps. He had to leave at the end. Maybe that's the secret.
Getting abandoned by the king of chins, getting abandoned by him. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, he had to bail at the end, but put me on help me get a winning strategy. Put me on a winning strategy, and I couldn't execute, but honestly happy to get a second out of here. So, private label team, my team, Ty, Tommy for helping support me. You guys for broadcasting. Sure, go back and watch the end of that one. Gonna be fun.
Well, before we send you out of the channel here, I do want to pat you on the back. I've called too many of your races and too many of your wins and seen too many of your wins on other streams. There's no such thing as passing Jason Brophy easy. And I know he had to work for it, and I know you had a great race there. So I think you're a little hard on yourself, but congratulations on the P2, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, Jason, congratulations, and we will see him next week in Pocono. So one last item of business to take care of. Let's hear from the race winner this evening, his first win in 2024. That is Gavin Hibbs. Gavin, congratulations. What a last lap pass victory for you this evening.
Yeah, thank you. It was very, very nerve-wracking, but I want to first give a shout-out to Jason Brophy there at the very end. He raced me hard, but, it was a very clean battle for the win there, and, I don't mind if I lost this race while getting raced hard as long as it was clean, and I can't give a shout out more to Jason for that.
Yeah, it looks like we were talking to Jason just before you came up, and he talked about he's lost speed at the end. We wondered if tires had anything to do with that. You were behind him for obviously the majority of the race. At what point did you see your opportunity that you were like, you know what, I could pull this out?
I think it was once I got past Jared there with, I want to say, 20 something laps left. I'm like sitting there and I'm like, okay, I was gonna get content running second, but I'm like, okay, if I can get quickly around Jared, then I'm gonna try and see what I can do. Get up to Jason, slightly closed in a bit, and then for about 5-6 laps there, kind of stalled out, and I was trying to think what can I do differently that he's not doing that I can gain a couple tenths a lap, and so then I tried to move up to the wall a little bit, and then was looking at a little bit at the times and seeing how quickly I was closing in. So just trying to maintain running the same exact line I've been running for those last 10 laps and getting up to him.
Yeah, it seemed like that high line, your car hooked in, and that was when you considerably was shaving time off of Brophy's lead, and then your pass there on the last lap. So yeah, car ran great all day. It seemed like congratulations, huge victory for you. You got a lot of momentum, obviously going into Pocono next week. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, first off, I want to give shout out to my sponsor at Hibbs Designs, my company. If you want a paint scheme or anything made up, hit me up on Twitter at GavinHibbs1 or Hibbs Designs on Twitter. Want to give a shout out to my team at Strictly Stock Motorsports, Jesse, GT, Joe, James Cato, all of them for being supportive of me and supportive of what I'm doing right now.
Gavin, good stuff. Again, congratulations. First win of the 2024 season. Hopefully you can carry the momentum to Pocono next week.
All right, thank you. I'm hoping so.
All right. That interview's there for all three podium finishers this evening. Fellas, anything else before we wrap things up and we move to Pocono in a week's time?
Good.
I'm just been fantastic with racing. I think all the drivers have spoken about how that's all panned out in the race there. So yeah, it's been fantastic, exciting racing. Can't wait for the next one there. Gary?
That's all right. I think we talked about that one once before. You called me Gaza. Hey, good to be here, first of all. I want to thank Chad for having faith in me and bringing me on. A little rough tonight, learning the new system and the buttons and everything. I would thank everyone for any feedback and mostly their forgiveness as we work through this. I will be, I guess, doing most of the producing, going for 2024B on IndyCar races, but I'm only here for a select more for 2024A. But it was great to be here. Great to work again with you, Dean. Great to work with you for the first time, Derik. Looking forward to Pocono next week. Pocono, a track built just for IndyCar. Turn 1, Trenton. Turn 2, Indianapolis. Turn 3, Milwaukee. You wouldn't know it with the current history there of what currently goes on there, but the track is made for IndyCar, and we're going to see a great race next week there at Pocono because what the place was made for.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely love when NASCAR goes there to Pocono. I will be back in 2 weeks' time. I'm actually going on vacation Tuesday, so I'll be listening to you guys, but can't wait to see what we have in store. So for myself, Dale, Gary, the rest of the crew here on the Elite Racing League and the Elite Racing Network, we are going to sign off until next week at Pocono. We will see you at the next race.